Hello guys, welcome back. This is Oscar and welcome to another video. Today we're gonna see how to connect our C# applications to a PostgreSQL database. So let's get into it. Okay guys, so first of all, I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do. We are going to follow this article from my blog. First of all, we have to see the prerequisites. You need to have Postgre installed and also pgadmin in order to follow this tutorial totally. If you want to know where you can get Postgre, just go to postgresql.org and then go to download, and then you go to Windows, and there you have different versions that you can download. For pgadmin, it's pretty much the same. Go to pgadmin.org, go to the download section, Windows, and then you have different versions that you can download. Okay, so once that you have pgadmin and PostgreSQL set up, you need to install also the .NET tool, Entity Framework Core tools, using the .NET CLI. After you run this command on your terminal, you will see a message like this, and now you're ready and set to go. Okay, so let's create a new project. Let me show you. I'm gonna go to my repos folder and send unit coding. Whoop. Unit coding YouTube. And I'm gonna create the project .NET new. Whoops, web API. And I'm gonna call it PostgreSQL connection. Okay. Let's get into it using the cd command. PostgreSQL connection. And if I list the files, I can use the code.command to open Visual Studio Code. You can do this using the terminal, or you can do it manually using Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio 2022. Whatever is your option, it's up to you. So now we are in the project. Let's see what's next. We're gonna use the code first approach. You can see what is the code first approach here. And we're gonna use or create a class person, as this is the table that we will create to insert data. Okay, so let's create a new folder called models. Whoops, no, models. Inside this folder, let's create the person class or person model. Let me close this really quick, and then namespace fill public class person, and then we're gonna use an integer for the ID, a string for the person name, another string for the person last names, and finally another integer for the age. Okay, this is pretty much the model we will create. That's it. We don't need to add anything else. So now that we have set our model, we have to install some Nuget packages in order to allow the connection from our application to our Entity Framework Core. Remember, you can use a web API, console application, MVC, Blazor, whatever you want. So let's use .NET add package. The first one is Entity Framework Core. Oops, package. Microsoft Entity Framework Core. Then add package. Microsoft Entity Framework Core tools, I guess. Yes, tools. And finally, we need to add this npg-SQL Entity Framework Core PostgreSQL, as this package contains the methods to be able to connect to PostgreSQL. So let me do that. Package npg-SQL, and I have it here. npg-SQL.entityFrameworkCore.PostgreSQL. install this package, and now we're ready to move on. Next step, let's create the application DbContext. Let's create a new file. You can call it whatever you want. I'm gonna call it application AppDbContext. Let me fill this. So public class AppDbContext inherit from DbContext, and then I'm using, let's import the entity framework core namespace. Let's create the constructor, and let's pass the DbContext options as a parameter. Let's call this options, and finally let's call the base constructor and passing the options. Okay, now we have to call to the public override void on model creating now. Okay. Model builder and model builder. Okay, now that we have the on model creating method, we have to add some data to our database manually. Let's say new person. Oops. Nope. Model builder dot entity. Let's say person. Yeah, has data. And inside here, we will call the new person. Let's say ID of 1, name, my name, Oscar. Whoops. Last name equals my last name, Montenegro. And then the age is gonna be 29. Let's copy this, and then let's change the ID to 2. Let's say John Lennon, and let's say age of, I don't know, 46 maybe. And then model builder that based that on model creating, let's call this model builder. Yes. And lastly, you have to add this db set for person to create the people database. Okay, so now moving on, we have our application DbContext. Now we have to add our connection string here. Connection strings. Then we call this Postgre connection. Okay, and I'm gonna take the string, the connection string from my blog. You can do the same. We're gonna use the localhost database. We will call it person db. This port is the default port that gets selected from the installation from PostgreSQL. So if you didn't change it, just set it to this one. And if you did change the port, then set this port variable to whatever you set your port on your PostgreSQL installation. My user ID and my password. Okay, use yours for your application. Okay, so now that we have changed or add our app settings, then let's move on to our program and let's add the DbContext here. I think it's add npg-SQL, add DbContext of type AppDbContext, and then let's use an options here. Options that use npg-SQL, and inside here we will call the builder, that's configuration get connection string, and you have to pass here the name of the query string. Mine was Postgre connection. Okay, so now I think we're pretty much done with whatever we need. Yes, get connection string, blah blah blah. Let's execute our entity framework commands. Oops. Yes. Add entity framework. Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. Add entity framework npg SQL. Add DbContext of type AppDbContext. And then inside here we call the use npg SQL and pass the connection strings name. Now let's execute our entity framework commands. .NET EF migrations, add initial migration. This name, you can change it to whatever you want. There you go. Now we have the migrations folder with all the data that will generate our databases. So now let's update the database. .NET. Whoa. Oh my gosh. .NET EF database update. Okay. Before updating my database, let me show you I don't have the person DB that I'm gonna create. So now let me execute this command. And there you go. Now let me refresh this. And I have this new person DB database here. Let's get into schemas. Oh, tables. I have the people table. You can see the columns, ID, name, last name, and age. I can also run a script, a select script. Let me run this. And as you can see, I can see myself and John Lennon here, okay? Okay, guys, so this is pretty much how you connect your C# application to a PostgreSQL database. It was pretty simple. If you follow these simple steps, I'm sure you're gonna have your application running in no time. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please share, subscribe, comment, and remember to subscribe to the channel to get new updates on every video that I upload. Thank you and see you on the next one.